November of 2008, it wasn't the best of times. Democrats won everything. The Messiah won the White House, and the Senate and Congress were as blue as Monica's dress. But 2 years later, we had a Tea Party.
People, we the people. Tyranny never, freedom forever.
And everybody saw that wave coming. Well, everybody except Joe Biden.
A quote of Missourian, Samuel Clemens, who said, and I'll paraphrase him, related to our party, the reports of the death of the Democratic Party have been greatly exaggerated. Greatly exaggerated. And it's because of you guys. It's because of you guys. I'm here to tell you that on November the 3rd, the day after this coming election, there will be in Washington, D.C., a Democratic majority in the House and a Democratic majority in the Senate. That will be the case. And were it not illegal, I'd make book on it.
The big guy would have lost bank. Well, that's why Hunter runs the family finances. Democrats got shellacked. They lost 63 House seats and 6 Senate seats. And then Occupy Wall Street launched, and they asked Barack, can you please at least put one banker in prison? But Barry didn't. Instead of being pro-worker, Democrats got into pronouns. And now, 12 years later, as Obama's pastor famously said, the chickens are coming home to roost.
An economy that's very good for folks at the very top, but not always so good for ordinary people. Communities where too many kids are you gonna start yelling? Don't start yelling. Don't start yelling. Why are you starting yelling? Hold on a second, everybody. Don't get distracted. Wait. Hold up. You have to be polite and civil. When people are talking, then other people are talking.
Yes, we can campaign for a lady who held mock slave auctions in high school. And AOC's base is furious because they thought we were supposed to make love, not war.
You voted to send arms and weapons to Ukraine. You ran as an outsider. Yet you've been voting to start this war in Ukraine. You're voting to start a thermonuclear war with Russia and China. Why are you playing with the lives of American citizens?
You have done nothing. I believed in you, and you became the very thing you sought to fight against.
You can feel it everywhere. If I told you that the Washington Post, a week before the midterms, ran a column titled, "For the good of the country, Biden and Harris should bow out," you'd say, Waters, you're smoking toad venom. But I'm totally tober. And not to be outdone, the New York Times in their news section today say, Democrats are twisting and turning on immigration. Things are getting so bad, Gavin Newsom started telling the truth.
Does it feel like a red wave?
Yeah, of course it does. And again, I'm not paid to say that. I'm paid to say, we faint and feel. I mean, I get it. Look, I could be the cheerleader. I'm also a pragmatist. You feel it.
This is the first time Newsom's felt anything that's not narcissism. He's emotionally developing, and we're very proud of him. One day, he'll feel empathy, too. Democrats keep telling us a civil war is coming, and they're right. But it's not going to be the civil war between Republicans and Democrats. It's going to be a Democrat civil war. The Democrats are about to start blaming each other, and as usual, the media is going to start blaming you, the voters.
I read a poll just yesterday that white Republican suburban women are now going to vote Republican.
Why?
It's almost like roaches voting for Raid.
As someone who knows white suburban women better than anybody, the ladies pulling up to Pottery Barn in their Jeep Grand Cherokees and J. Crew are not going to like that. And Bill Clinton, who famously said it depends on what the meaning of is, says Republicans are toying with your emotions.
The Republicans are pretty simple, actually. And pretty straightforward. They say, I want you to be very miserable. And I want you to be very angry. And I want you to vote for us, and we'll make it worse, but we'll blame them.
I thought Bill Clinton was supposed to feel your pain. What else is he feeling? Definitely not Hillary. Yeah, we're not scared of being pushed on the subway, raped or shot. We're scared because Republicans are pouncing.
Ads about crime every 30 seconds, right? No solutions, but just a lot of really fearful, scary pictures and scary music. They don't care about keeping you safe. They want to keep you scared.
Well, if things are so great, why aren't these heavy hitters going to swing states? Biden just came back from campaigning in Oregon. Last night, he gave a campaign speech in Washington, D.C. And today, Joe Biden is campaigning in California. Kamala was campaigning in the famous swing state of Massachusetts yesterday. The third time she's been to Massachusetts since August. Still hasn't been to the border. And today, the Democrats assembled an all-female dream team. Hillary, Kamala, and Letitia James are campaigning in Manhattan today on behalf of Kathy Hochul, who's running for governor. Now, a Republican might win the governor's mansion in New York, so they're bringing out the big guns. She's at risk of losing the seat in New York. And now the Democrats are on defense. Crooked's there, Kamala. I mean, come on. Talk about lining up on your own 1 yard line. New York's a war zone. Just this morning, a woman out jogging in the West Village by the Hudson River, nice place, got raped.
The NYPD says a 43-year-old female was jogging near Pier 45 when she was sexually assaulted around 5:30 Thursday morning. Authorities say the male suspect approached the victim from behind, choked her, and then assaulted her. Police say he also robbed the victim, stealing her cell phone and credit cards before taking off. Paramedics took the victim to a local hospital for treatment of her injuries. Thursday afternoon, the NYPD says they took a person into custody.
Yeah, the person in custody, he's homeless, and he's got 18 arrests on his record. In Buffalo, New York, a guy beat the hell out of his wife. Look at this. Look at those punches. And then he was let out with no bail. You know what he did next? He murdered her. Democrat Kathy Hochul was cornered yesterday on this, and she blamed the system.
The system absolutely failed her. The system has to work. Orders of protection have to be granted. transition homes have to be available, and we have to make sure that judges and prosecutors charge appropriately.
She is the system, and her message is, the system killed this woman, so re-elect the system on Tuesday. Kamala Harris just wrapped up her speech at this Hillary Hochul event, and the vice president didn't even mention crime. Women are getting raped and murdered every day, and the most powerful women in the world ignore it. That's exactly why they're going to get hammered on Tuesday. Let's turn to Congressman Lee Zeldin. He's running for governor of New York against Hochul, so it looks like you got a crowd out behind you. Say hi to them from primetime, would you?
I will. Jesse says hi, guys. You know, there's actually thousands of people on the other side of this building behind me. We have a big rally up here in the Capital Region tonight.
All right,
this is actually our 5th rally in the last 6 days with over 1,000 people.
Good. Well, the only people supporting Hochul seem to be Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton. What does it tell you that they had to bring in these types of A-listers to deep blue New York a week before the election?
Listen, we have all of the momentum, all the energy on our side. We have the issues on our side, and they are desperate to try to figure out how to energize their base. So that's why they're bringing Hillary out today, and Kamala, Bill Clinton, Jill Biden, and they're getting really small crowds. There were less than 200 people at the event with Jill Biden. There's just no energy over there. We've been out here focusing on the issues that matter most to New Yorkers, like rising crime. You just in your monologue referenced Kiera outside of Buffalo, when she was, begging everybody, you cannot let my husband out. He is going to murder me. He got charged with a slew of domestic violence offenses. He got released on a Tuesday. The next day, Wednesday, a day later, he murders her in front of her 3 kids, and she was wearing a bulletproof vest. So when Kathy Hochul is saying that, no responsibility, there's nothing to see here, I don't want to talk about it, what should be happening is that you're accepting responsibility. You talked about the jogger today in the west side of Manhattan as another example, and that was just earlier this morning. People see the videos, the pictures, they see the news reports. They want leadership, they want action, solutions, zero tolerance. We're taking back our streets. This is how. But instead, what we're getting is that I don't understand why this is so important to you, Congressman Zeldin. Well, when she says that to me, she's saying that to everybody else. That's why we're doing as well as we are, because Democrats and independents are agreeing with us that we need to save this state.
I was wondering, did the President of the United States ever give you a call after you were nearly stabbed on stage a little while back?
No, and we've had a couple of incidents here. July 21st was when we were giving that rally speech in Monroe County, just outside of Rochester. A few weeks ago, we actually had a gang-related drive-by shooting in my front yard while my 16-year-old girls were at home at a kitchen table doing homework on a quiet Sunday afternoon. So if I, as a 4-term member of Congress running for governor, can have this happen to me, a lot of New Yorkers out there realize this can happen to anybody. But no, as far as the answer to your question, I didn't receive a call.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lee Zeldin. Did the guy who tried to stab you up there, he just walked out the next day with no bail, but the guy that swung a hammer at Paul Pelosi, he's still in jail on no bail. Is that right?
So New York has this cashless bail law, as you know, and it was actually within hours. We had an evening rally when this happened on stage. I got an email around 2:30 or so at night saying that he was already released due to cashless bail. So the feds are able to get involved. The U.S. Attorney's Office a day later, because I'm a member of Congress. But if I wasn't a member of Congress, they wouldn't have been able to do that charge against him. And by the way, I would say that that's even a disservice to the veteran. I was told that he was hammered, that he has all these mental health issues. How are you helping him by saying at 2 o'clock in the morning, all right, you're free to go home?
Yeah, it's wild. All right, well, listen, good luck next week. I'm sure people in New York will turn out if they're thinking clearly. It's always not the case, but we'll see how it shakes out. Thank you very much, Congressman. The media says if you vote Republican,
Thanks, Jesse.
America's children will be lined up in the streets and shot. Joe Biden doesn't have COVID to run on. Guy's got nothing. In 2 years, he crashed the economy, blew up the border, and triggered a crime wave. So his closing message last night was that if you vote Republican, they'll ban voting.
Extreme MAGA Republicans aim to question not only the legitimacy of past elections, but elections being held now and into the future. The extreme MAGA element of the Republican Party, which is a minority of that party, as I said earlier, but it's its driving force. It's trying to succeed where they failed in 2020, to suppress the right of voters and subvert the electoral system itself. That means denying your right to vote and deciding whether your vote even counts.
So Joe Biden thought this speech was going to rally the base, and he was right. It rallied the Republican base. And the media knows this, and they know Biden shot an airball last night, so they're warning that a red wave means blood on the streets.
I think we're in a cold civil war in this country, and they also seem to like violence more. So, for the people who on the left who are egging on a civil war, I would say don't. They have more guns and then how to use them.
6 nights from now, we could all be discussing violence all over this country. There are signs that may happen. We could be 6 days away from losing our rule of law.
There might be, serious violence if this red wave that is being sort of almost promised by some in the media doesn't happen. Is the White House prepared for that?
Oh, and Republicans are going to line up your kids and execute them.
What was at stake tonight and this week was the fact whether we will be a democracy in the future, whether our children will be arrested and conceivably killed. We're on the edge of a brutal authoritarian system.
I know the Democrats lost the Civil War, so they're dying to fight another one. But guys, we don't want any trouble. We just want cheap gas. Now, CNN is trying to stage an intervention.
His message on the democracy is on the brink is not what's top of mind with voters. Voters are concerned with money in the bank, not democracy on the brink. So he would have been better served to focus on economic issues as well as the inflation.
For Joe, it's either affordable groceries or freedom and democracy. You can't have both. And if you even think about voting for the GOP, you're voting for violence.
The extreme MAGA element of the Republican Party, they've emboldened violence and intimidation of voters and election officials. It's estimated that there are more than 300 election deniers on the ballot all across America this year. We can't ignore the impact this is having on our country. It's damaging, it's corrosive, and it's destructive.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't a man in North Dakota murder a teenager because he was a Republican extremist? Days after Biden said extremist Republicans were a threat to democracy? Didn't a radical Democrat fly across the country armed to the teeth to assassinate Kavanaugh after the Democrats savagely attacked him and leaked the Roe decision? Biden never went on camera and condemned any of that. And now the Democrats' midterm messages, Paul Pelosi got hammered, vote Democrat. Herschel Walker is the Republican candidate for Senate in Georgia. So, Herschel Walker, how'd that speech go down in the state of Georgia?
Well, that speech didn't go down that well at all because the biggest threat to the democracy is Joe Biden being in the White House. The biggest threat in the democracy is with Senator Warnock and Joe Biden with this high inflation. And that's a threat to democracy right there. The biggest threat to democracy is the crime that they've let come on the streets. And all this has happened in less than 2 years that they've been at the White House. And I think that is sad. I think it's a shame. That's one reason I decided to run, because it's time for a change. It doesn't seem that they care about this country. They care about this state. They care about the people at all. And they're making excuses, trying to scare everybody. Well, it's not going to happen on my watch. I'm going to fight. I'm going to let the people know the truth. And the truth is, we can get lower taxes. We can secure this border. We can get back to being energy independent. But what we got to do is just quit listening to people like Joe Biden and Senator Warnock.
Do people in Georgia know how radical left Warnock is? I mean, we've shown some of these clips. This guy's a lunatic.
Well, they're starting to become aware of it. I think right now that's the reason you see the polls are changing. A lot of people that know some of the things he stood for. A lot of people know what he's done to his ex-wife or what he's done to the kids at that camp. But some of those things are starting to be aware of. And he's upset now. He's saying, why are they doing it to him? Well, they're doing it to him because it's true. I've been very transparent about my life, but I want people to know Senator Warnock is very radical. And one of the things they can see is after 2 years, they see what he's done to this country. They see what he's done to this state. And now he's asking for 6 more years and being a pastor that's lying to the people like bold-faced lying to the people that he's going to do something different. And I've said, when Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And we got to believe Senator Warnock that that's exactly who he is and what he's doing right now.
And Warnock doesn't have a Heisman Trophy.
He never won a Heisman Trophy, and I don't think he can ever win a Heisman Trophy. But one of the things, he did a commercial where he was running track, and he was running on the track round backwards. So not only is he voting backwards, he was running on the track backwards as well. And that's one thing that they've been talking about, me being an athlete. And as guys, I'm not that athlete. I've created a business, so I've signed the front of a paycheck, and I don't think they've ever done that. I've done the things that it takes to be a good senator, and I think after that debate, I think everyone saw who was the true senator. It was Herschel Walker.
All right. It's a close race down there in Georgia. It's neck and neck. I think people are going to turn out big. Herschel Walker, thanks for coming on Prime Time.
Hey, thank you. And tell everyone to go to teamherschel.com. Become a part of Team Herschel, and let's win this great seat for the good people of Georgia.
All right. He has the Heisman, and Warnock doesn't. That's all you need to know. What do the guy who robbed Katie Hobbs' campaign office and the guy who attacked Paul Pelosi have in common?